Indeed, and that is Oh My Goss, which is the Vietnamese team, Bad Boy, Say My Name, a guy I never heard about, and then ACCM selling out that brand new build order site.
Oh yeah, definitely. Rolls-Royce, I'd never heard about him, but he is 2K1, I think 1v1, and he's like 2K8 team game, so he's like pretty highly rated.
Yeah, in general, Resource is pretty high rated,
Yeah.
not
Uh,
just in the world of AoE.
yeah, I just don't happen to know him.
And on the other side, we do have apparently the sole crazy guys alive: Thor, Goo, and Kill.
No, Riot. Where's Riot, man?
Who knows? Oh, look at that on the far left. As Goo is casually building that dock, there is his teammate passing by. What is he doing? Why is he on the other side of the map?
What do you mean?
I mean red. It feels weird that he's just walking to their side of the map instead of actually walking towards his TC or building a dock somewhere.
Well, he's building a dock over here.
Okay, now it's fine, but it was like way too much walk to my taste.
Well, the thing
For
is,
that
he figured that the water was like a wasn't very good until you can like go to the outside of the map where it's more guaranteed, I guess. But yeah, it's still a lot of walking. Anyway, to quick.
And
Oh yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah, did you actually see how Say My Name's base looks like? That's going to be a nice and cozy fight over there at the beginning, right next to green.
Ooh, oh, say my name's Persians. I just want to throw that out there, and he's really close.
Yeah, the only ingredient is missing. That's the username. Like, if he was actually called Yupe, you know what would actually happen.
Oh yeah.
I really feel bad for Green because he's kind of squeezed in between Say My Name and ACCM, the two strongest players of the opponent.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty tricky. He is Khmer. Where are his teammates? Alive will be the Purple Malay a little bit further northeast. Goo will be even further north as the Coomers. Yeah. Kill. Oh wait, Kill's the one who's stuck. Who am I missing? Thor.
Yeah, you're missing Thor. He's in the middle of the map to the north in Italians. So, looking at the civs, that's actually a pretty nice lineup of civs in general for both teams. Not the most ideal, but like Italians and Cumans are nice. On the other side, you have Persians, you have Celts. So there is some solid nomad civs to this.
Yep, say my name will be the Blue Persians. Right next to him will be ACCM as the Yellow Mayans, definitely a solid civ. Rolls Royce will be in the orange a little ways to the west as the Celts, another fine solid civ. And finally, Bad Boy will be kind of off on his own to the northeastish of the map as the Cyan Indians. So it's a little rough, I think, for Bad Boy because he's not really near any of his teammates, who are all kind of concentrated on the south of the map. But everyone else for Soul Crazy is just spread out all over everywhere. So it might be kind of hard to group up everybody.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But on the other side, if Kill is doing a decent job just slowly dying and delaying ACCM and Say My Name, then it gives quite a lot of time to the teammates. Especially, like, Alive could be pretty interesting, who could actually push ACCM from the north.
Certainly, but how is Kill not gonna die if he has no gold and no stone and has one wood line?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question. That's exactly what I wanted to ask. It's interesting that he's squeezed in between ACCM and Say My Name, and both of those have gold mine. In fact, ACCM does have a stone mine right next to it. That's a very good town center from him.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's on top of a hill, it's got nearby all the resources, it's not too close to the edge of the map, and I think in general, Kill just put his TC too close to the edge of the map. This sort of thing can happen if you do that, so I wouldn't recommend it.
Meanwhile, we do have some nice fishing party on the left side. And yeah, that's the entire SC team fishing basically on the far left. at least that's going to be great for them because they can like concentrate their forces, and it's going to be easier to defend the fish. Alive is kind of isolated from them, which could be a bit of a concern. By the way, is this the same Alive guy who was on Wobbly?
Yep, same one who played for Brazil A back in Nations Cup.
As if I knew what happened in Nations.
Ornlu A old. Yes, it's the same Alive though.
Yeah, like, you feel like you're old because you saw Nations Cup, and I'm like, 2 days ago I saw a guy who actually asked what Wobbly was. That's where I felt old.
Oh man. Feels bad, man. Never thought I'd feel old at 23.
Anyways, we have a Feudal Age happening for Tur and Gu first, but Bad Boy is also creeping in there. But in general, I feel like SC is gonna have better Feudal Age times than the Vietnamese players.
Yeah, well, say my name, yet to click up. Same thing for Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, only Bad Boy is up.
And ACCM, yeah. So now they're going to start clicking up, but it is definitely a little bit slower on average.
ACCM feels like he's doing an FC here. Like, at this point, he's 29 and he still hasn't clicked up. The rest of the players, they're actually going up here. You have Rolls-Royce going up pretty late as well, but that is very, very dangerous. I mean, if you look at the fish from Rolls-Royce, you could also see that Kill saw the dock. So they know exactly where the fish is for Rolls-Royce. They could destroy that before Rolls-Royce gets up to Feudal.
Yeah, certainly. I think ACCM definitely can go for a fast castle pretty comfortably. He's not under a ton of threat. I don't think Malay are going to do a ton aggressive on land in Feudal Age. And with the stone right there, I think you have a very straightforward fast castle Plumes.
Yeah, that's going to be indeed the case, especially if you have a teammate, say my name, who's just going to delay the opponent anyways. Meanwhile, we'll have an extremely aggressive tower over here from Kill, as he's just going to go and try to deny the gold mine. I don't know if... Does he even have more stone to mine? Absolutely not. So that's going to be the only tower that he's making. And Say My Name didn't see that.
No, he didn't complete the outpost, so I feel like he
suspected something is happening there, but he didn't know, and he was later into Feudal Age. So this means that he's gonna get pushed off the gold here, at least for the time being. And meanwhile, there is Fire Galleys coming in here from Tor. And as I said, Rolls-Royce just getting up in the Feudal Age is going to mean that he could lose half of his fishing eco very, very soon.
Oh yeah, we certainly saw that in the last series. But there's already one dead villager here for Kill. That's not really great. A villager kind of wandering too close to the enemy town center. And the thing is, Say My Name is going to just click up to Castle Age without a care in the world. He has a secondary gold over here that he can just take instead. It's not like he even invested a mining camp on the gold that's right next to his town center.
Yeah, but in the meanwhile, both Rolls-Royce and Say My Name are likely to lose their entire fishing eco. Look at that. They're running for their lives over there.
Sailing for their lives. Ships don't run, Lita. Come on, man.
Yeah, you're right. Anyways, it's very interesting that ACM still hasn't clicked up. Like, he has the resources to look up into Castle. It's understandable because it's FC Plumes build, so you need to get her the stone as well, but it's still a fairly late Castle Age time compared to what Say My Name is doing, for example.
Yeah, and it just seems like he didn't have the wood income he needed. He doesn't even have a lumber camp. He's just building his first lumber camp right now. But yeah, that's it's gonna be all right, I think. Still, Say My Name is gonna hit Castle Age. I'm not too sure what he wants to be doing. I think it's just gonna be for some mangonels to start working away at Kill. But Kill himself is preparing some scout cavalry, so he'll at least have something to help deal with that.
Yeah, he's going to have to, because if he doesn't make any land military, then ACCM is just going to castle drop him, and there is no escape from this corner, by the way. So Kill could legitimately get defeated here if he's in a very, very bad spot and surrounded by ACCM and Say My Name.
Yeah, he's definitely going to need to be bailed out by Alive, but what is Alive up to? He's just making some fire galleys, just doing his Malay water thing, and he seems to be doing a pretty good job of it. No massive, KD discrepancies just yet or anything like that.
Yeah, but on the other side, he hasn't clicked up to Castle Age, even though with Malay he can actually catch up compared to Bad Boy, but Bad Boy might actually have a slightly faster castle here, which could decide the outcome of the water fight, but I feel like this is actually pretty good for SC, because Alive is delaying Bad Boy quite a bit, and soon Bad Boy is going to face a fairly well-boomed Kuman player, who could just legitimately castle drop him.
Yeah, definitely. It could be a little bit tricky. I think that the Cumin Boom in general, it's kind of risky.
Oh, say my name, he's actually in trouble. The scouts are paying off for kill here. Just 3 scouts, but they delay the town center, and they're killing quite a lot of vills.
And they have +1 defense, too, so they're going to be really hard to take down. Say my name, having to fight villagers against scouts, that is always a little bit awkward. But still, does take down the tower. And the thing is, he's Persians. He can afford to lose the occasional villager, especially when his opponents...
Are you sure?
I mean, I said the occasional villager, not like all of them.
Yeah, especially considering his fishing eco is kind of battered down as well. And I have to say that Kill is doing what he has to. He's doing an excellent job considering the circumstances. In fact, he was able to smuggle out a few villagers to get some gold for himself.
Ooh, nicely done from him right there, now building a market. Is he close to clicking up? Not even remotely close. Has a lot of wood, though, so he needs to turn that into some other resource. And Say My Name currently on 29 vills to Kill's 36, but of course he is in Castle Age. He is on 2 TCs with Persians, so he should be able to balance that at least sort of okay.
Yeah, but in the meanwhile, if Kill is just doing a decent job with the scouts and harassing not just Say My Name, but potentially Rolls Royce as well on the gold mine, then that could be amazing as well. So he could delay 3 Vietnamese players, but in the meanwhile, Alive gets castle dropped here, and that's something he wasn't prepared for. He doesn't even have barracks.
No, he does not, and that is going to be pretty awkward. He is in Castle Age, but he can't really do a whole lot. To be fair, the castle isn't really doing a whole lot immediately either. Also on the water, we have Bad Boy going for a huge fishing fire play, and is completely annihilating the Feudal Age warships of Alive. So Alive is just getting kind of wrecked on both sides right there.
Yeah, basically he was just not having the chance to upgrade his ships in time because he got castle dropped. So now he's going to lose the water. But in the meanwhile, like, Thor has a relatively safe boom, even though he's rather slow getting up. I mean, he's going to get outboomed at this pace. But on the other hand, you do have a fairly well-boomed Kuman player. Gu is also going up to castle.
Yeah, it's not the greatest for Thor. Definitely getting a lot of his stuff cleaned up right there, but...
Oh, the mass migration. Kill is going to abandon. He's like, abandon ship, and he's going to mass migrate to the north of the Doomed Archers come in.
Oh, there they are. I was like trying to find the villagers, but yikes. That is probably necessary. The 2 mangonels are going to work down that town center in not too long. Looks like Rolls-Royce is using the power of invisible fire.
That's only invisible for you.
Really?
It's actually visible for me.
I literally, the fire ships are
just
sitting there on my screen.
Yeah, basically SC is losing the water on both sides, and suddenly what started out to be an okay game for them is turning more and more into a very, very dangerous game, as Gu is apparently thrashing Bad Boy here.
Interesting. I'm not thrilled on the Cumin Trush, to be honest, but...
I mean, it's actually legitimate in the aspect of being able to deny the wood income for Bad Boy, but Bad Boy is booming on 40 Cs. It's not like a few towers will really decide things at this late. And, like, Bad Boy is up to 61 villagers, which is a massive advantage. I feel like Gu could have just piled up that stone, and instead of the towers, he could have just castle dropped his opponent, because Bad Boy is just booming.
Yeah. I totally agree. I feel like a castle drop into Kipchaks would make a lot more sense. Because right now, it's just... Bad Boy is it's just like a fly that's buzzing around him. He doesn't really care that much. It's a little annoying. Oh, and now Say My Name, I'm going to be building a town center on the smoldering ruins of Kill's starting town center. Oh, it feels bad,
And
man.
well, that's what we call efficiency. He's just gonna steal the farms as well.
Yeah, oh, that's pretty rough, man. But honestly, Say My Name, he's in the worst spot on his team, and even then, he's still doing all right. He's on 57 villagers. Bad Boy's on almost 70, and now Plumed Archers from ACCM are going to be doing work too. It's going to be pretty rough.
Well, honestly, Thor is underperforming quite massively here, to my taste. Like, he had an essentially free boom, and he's so far from being able to influence the game at all. Like, he's at 42 eco overall. In comparison, Bad Boy was kind of doing the same thing, but Bad Boy is up to 75.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good comparison. I feel like Thor just got wrecked on Feudal Age, and by the Castle Age army or navy rather of Bad Boy, and it just seems like he wasn't really able to recover. Like too much of his eco was invested in that. Now we have some knights coming in here from Goo, but yeah, Indians, camels, they should be doing just fine. Are getting a few vill kills, but yeah.
Are those knights trapped in there? There's like 2 knights from Goo surrounded by stone walls. I wonder if they're just bugging out, trying to hit the gold miners, or they're legitimately trapped.
I don't actually know. It looks like there should be a gap, but I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I have no idea either. It's not really going to matter at this point, especially considering that Kill is down to 31 villagers. Basically, all 3 Vietnamese players, or all 4 actually, are above 70 villagers, and basically no one from SC is actually up there.
Yeah, this one is looking almost irrecoverable. Some camels coming in here for Goo as well, really trying to put some pressure on to Bad Boy. I just don't really see Bad Boy taking that much damage. He's going to be getting some camels out of his own, and Alive is not doing that great. Ooh, actually got a really nice mangonel hit onto a bunch of plumed archers, it looks like.
Yeah, like, the problem is that I think that Goog would be able to destroy Bad Boy here, more or less. The problem is that the rest of his teammates are still so dead. Like, Kill is essentially dead. Thor has no army right now. They have lost the water, basically.
Yeah, and behind this, Say My Name and Rolls-Royce are just getting, like, the world's freest booms ever.
Yeah, same for Say My Name. Well, and ACCM as well, of course.
Yeah.
Everybody's just booming on 4 TCs, and at some point that's going to snowball. And Bad Boy is doing a good enough job of just slowly dying.
Yep, that's all he needs to do, and his team is going to be a-okay. But even then, I think he might be able to hold eventually. He's got more camels on the way. He's got 3 stables. Seems pretty good. Oh, it's like Cap Rams. Wait, is someone in Imperial Age? Oh, wait a minute. It's Cumans. Duh.
I like the idea. If his teammates weren't dead, this would be an excellent push.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, he's trying to make it happen right now. It's still just, it just feels like it's too little, too late.
It's not necessarily late. It's more about the fact that his teammates are just unable to contribute right now. And at some point, the boom of the other Vietnamese players will pay off so well. Like, Kill is just going up to Castle Age here, but Say My Name is going Imp.
Yeah. There's not anything to be stopped once Say My Name hits Imperial Age. He and ACCM are both north of 100 villagers. Definitely the 2 strongest players in this lobby by a decent amount. But yeah, they're going to be making a lot of pain here pretty soon. And there's the GG.
Indeed. It was well played. I feel like SC could have actually had a good chance in this game. Like, their start was relatively okay. But there were some massive misplays. Like, the fact that they just lost both sides of the war that easily was weird. I felt like Thor wasn't able to contribute as much as he wanted to into this one. So he was full water, but behind that he had a relatively late Castle Age. so he couldn't really transition into a boom, couldn't actually upgrade to War Galley.
Well, he went for full water, and Bad Boy went for full water, and he lost water. So there is real no coming back from that. Kill was just kind of, not able to do a whole lot. Not the greatest start for him, and definitely fairly dominant game number 1 there for our Vietnamese team.
Yeah, I feel like if Kill actually had Stone, then this could have been completely different, because he actually was in a good position to delay 2 or 3 Vietnamese players here. But yeah, it was just like they couldn't really capitalize on the Kuman boom either, and Bad Boy just did an excellent job of not just fighting well on the water, but after that he went for 4 TC boom and really just boomed up into the skies.
And was able to hold on, I think, pretty well. ACCM also 54 kills to 20 deaths, just in the background doing a ton of work. And that's definitely what you would expect from him.
Yeah, like he's probably by far the strongest player on this roster. Then you have Say My Name. And Bad Boy is also pretty good. Like, he plays some team games, I think, with the other Vietnamese players in the high-level lobbies. Royce, he's kind of a fill-in type of a guy, but still pretty high level.
Yeah.
All right.
And with the magic of Rex, I'm ready to jump into game number 2.
I'm at 1 second exactly.
Well, I'm at 2 seconds exactly.
Okay, you can do a countdown then.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, game number 2 here. We are now going on to the home map of Soul Crazy, and it will be Decentring. Definitely a really interesting map, a lot of different ways you can play it.
Yeah, it's a very, very different, and we already see different approaches. ACCM is going to start off with a TC on his own island, and Royce is actually going to go to the outside rim immediately. Same for
most
Bad
players
Boy.
are.
And same for Say My Name. The only Vietnamese player who's actually sticking to his own starting island is going to be ACCM. On the other side, all 4 SC players are staying on their island for the time being.
Yeah, like I said, this map is really interesting just because there are a lot of different ways you can open, a lot of different, like, how much do you want to commit to water versus how much you want to go onto the land. You've seen both styles work, and you can commit anywhere between 1 to 4 people on water and it still makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is that there isn't Riot right now, because to me, Soul Crazy without Riot is just not that great.
Yeah. Anyways, I actually prefer the outside start a bit more for Vietnam, because I feel like this is one of those maps where if you lose the water control, you will just be stuck on your own island and you will not be able to do anything. So it's a bit slower start, but a lot safer. Especially if you have a TC spot like Bad Boy, which is like an excellent spot, right next to shorefish, a bunch of deer, gold, wood, and he can even protect his docks with the TC if it's needed.
Yep, also has some forage bushes that I'm pretty sure he can go for as well as Frank's. And just taking a quick look at the civs, Franks, Mayans, Britons, and Khmer. A lot of really solid civs here for VNA, or not VNA. Oh my Goss.
Yeah, that's a nice solid combo. You have Tatars, Byzantines, Kumans, and Ethiopians for SC. Well, with Byzantines available, that's almost guaranteed that we're going to see Kill going for a water fight here.
Yeah, Byzantines are going to be great. In doing that, the other civs can be kind of weird, I feel. Ethiopians, not that amazing. Tatars are fine, but not that amazing. Cumans, this isn't really a good Cumans map, although I guess you can put a second TC on the shore in Feudal Age, which can be nice.
Yeah, that could be pretty fun. I feel like Tatars can be pretty nice here because you don't really have a lot of sheep at the start. And it's a nice little extra food for you to have the Tatars bonus.
Yeah, but there aren't any hills on this map, which always makes me feel bad for Tatars.
Yeah, that happens. It just happens. Anyways, did you know that I do have an emotional connection to this map?
Why is that?
It was the first ever game I casted in my life. That it was on this map on ACL.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah, so I think the first game I ever cast was an arena game with MBL, if I want to say.
What a better game to start with.
Yeah, seriously. Feels arena, man. It's when the clowning began for me, apparently.
Anyways, looking at the ecos, what stands out is that Rolls-Royce is just dropping his dock here, and he's going to be quite a bit outmassed in terms of fishing ship count, and kind of the same thing for Bad Boy in this one. So their eco isn't really going to shine. Same for Say My Name. So apparently this relocation to the outside is nice and everything, but it takes some time until you can get your dock up. So I estimate that SC should have a way better feudal age time, and they will be able to destroy the fishing eco from Vietnam if they play it right.
Yeah, definitely. Then that's the price of going to the outside so early, is that you are very significantly delayed in terms of your eco. I mean, we're looking at a 5 to 6 villager difference in Dark Age, which is obviously pretty big. But it can be hard to get to the outside of the map, even if you have water. But, like, water doesn't range the entire outside of the map. So, like, if your opponents are well cemented on land, it can be hard to actually ever get there. So it's going to be down to the VNA player, or the Oh My Goss players, to actually make sure they have a presence pretty much all around the ring of the map.
Yeah, that's true. Meanwhile, we are seeing Say My Name doing the trick that was actually kind of started in the TT Invitational, having his transport ship stacked in between the dock and the fishing ships of Goo. So basically he's kind of blocking those fishing ships a tiny bit. Nothing major, but it's actually a minor efficiency decrease for Goo there.
Get wrecked! Of all the fishing ships very slightly delayed. Meanwhile, though,
Anyways.
Thor and ACCM and Goo and Kill are all up to feudal age.
Yeah, and basically the players who are not up to feudal age were the ones that actually migrated to the outside. And this is why their fishing eco could be in danger. And if SC wins the war, it doesn't matter that they are in the middle right now, because they will be able to move to the outside no matter what.
Yep. And then we have our last player to click up to feudal age. That is not starting on the outside. Not too sure why that is. Maybe he's trying to go for an FC?
It's possible, but I feel like he has quite a lot of lumberjacks. Actually, yes, he's actually going for an FC.
I mean, he's
Just by looking at
Ethiopians.
Yeah, he's looking at the fishing ships, looking at the hunters, and the fact that he's rushing up that many villagers to wood makes me feel like he wants to have those buildings up.
Yeah.
Because... And, of course, he isn't even mining gold, by the way. That's just a side note.
Yeah, but he did get loom, so he's gonna need to mine some gold. You can only not mine gold and click up to Castle Age if you don't get loom, so that's a... Okay, now he's just going over to gold. Just needs to get 50 of it, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. But now it should be the water play. Fire galleys now on the way here for both yellow and gray.
Yeah, and as I said, if you take a look at, let's say, Rolls-Royce, he's 30% towards feudal age. And for Thor, especially knowing where the docks are, because he was just able to scout with his own transport ship, he's going to go directly over there and sink that fishing eco, which is going to be a massive boost to the already decent advantage of SC. Because, like, if you take a look at Alive, for example, he has 9 fishing ships. Overall, you had like 5 for Rolls-Royce, and now he's going to start losing them, so the eco lead is going to be pretty massive for SC.
Yeah, this is SC's map pick, so it definitely makes sense that they would have strategies prepared, and indeed going right to both fishing ecos and just trying to deny as much income as possible, because you're probably want you're probably going to want to go for an FC if you're on the land, and if you don't have the fishing eco, then that can be really hard to actually pull off, whereas we do have Alive on his way to Castle Age right now.
And meanwhile, Bad Boy is actually attempting an FC himself, but he will not have the wood to make the buildings here, so actually he will.
He's fine.
So it's going to be fine, but indeed, Alive should be a lot faster. He's already up.
It's just a lot smoother.
ACCM is doing an excellent job fighting Gudo on the water, so Gu is actually having a bit of a trouble with his eco, and he's not dropping his second TC right now. Okay, as I was saying that he dropped it.
Lead a liar, man.
Yeah, I'm liar. But anyways, it still looks better for SC, I believe, just for the sake of being able to destroy all that fishing eco, and that's probably going to pretty much even out the Castle Age times, I believe, because like FC with no fish or like a lot of idle fish is basically the same as a Crush if you have good fishing. Like if you take a look at Kill, he's just missing a bit of a gold for himself to click up.
Well, Kill didn't invest into a ton of fire galleys, if any, right? He has 3 military. So, a few, but not many. And he will be able to get up to Castle Age pretty quickly, and honestly, like, you know, you get to Castle Age as Byzantines, you haven't really invested much into military, you still have a lot of fishing ships, you can go for a pretty quick Imperial Age if you want to do that, or you can boom. Either is fine.
Yeah, like, that's exactly what I wanted to ask, because I feel like on this map, you could actually consider going for a pretty fast Imperial with Byzantines. If you feel like, hey, I'm losing the water, getting a few fast fire ships out could really change things over there. Or other option is you can open up with a bunch of Arbalasts, and since this map is pretty war heavy, it's probably likely that some of the players will not really have major armies, so like having 20 Arbs and like 2 Bombard Cannons can actually steamroll a player very fast.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to see what approach Kill goes for. Also, Nilly, thanks for the 19 months OBNC hype indeed. First series was pretty awesome. We're going to have to see SC make this happen without Riot, but they're doing alright so far. A little bit struggling on the water versus the might of ACCM. And now with ACCM, I think, possibly rotating towards Kill, his fishing eco might be in danger, although he is just getting some ships out now.
Yeah, indeed. One thing that's important to take a look at is that ACCM is still stuck on his own island, and he's basically massively outnumbered on water until Rolls-Royce shows up out of nowhere with a bunch of
Shows
galleys.
up in his Rolls-Royce? In his Rolls-Royce? No? No, just
No.
fire ships? Okay.
No, it's actually galleys.
Oh, okay. Well, they say that galleys are the Rolls-Royce of the water.
Well, I cannot confirm that, but I can confirm that Rolls-Royce is actually making motorboat engines.
Vroom, vroom, vroom! That's the sound they make. Also, fire ships from Bad Boy going to be coming in here, absolutely annihilating this fishing eco of Thor, who's just now clicked up to Castle Age. This is, of course, the problem if you are slower up when you're on water. Alive, meanwhile, actually is making some knights. Going to be trying to raid the Vietnamese team on the outside, and looks like the wall wasn't completed, so there is some chance for the knights to do some damage, already with forging too.
Yeah, and the scout is already inside for Alive, so he can go directly towards Rolls-Royce's base, and then you have Kill showing up with a bunch of Byzantine fire ships over here to win the war back. Demo, that's going to be a nice one for Bad Boy.
Oh, I must have missed it, but it's still looking pretty rough on the water for Thor here. We'll have to see... What is Orange doing? What's Rolls-Royce doing? He's in Feudal Age.
He's making massive amounts of galleys fighting on the water.
Oh, here they are.
And a side note worth noting is that Say My Name is also going for knights, and he's right on top of Thor's forward base over here, because one of the things that SC didn't do is voll themselves from the other side, so right now Say My Name is a very easy job of sending in knights into the eco of basically everybody.
Yeah, that could be a little bit tricky. There is a TC here for Kill, and it's protecting most of his eco, although a few villagers are still a little bit on the exposed side, but everyone else could be in a bit of a tricky spot. I think one villager has already been picked off. Looks like the quick walls are sort of in, but it's still pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, and more knights are coming in for Say My Name, so this is going to get heated up here on the outside. And in the meanwhile, Alive is also suffering from quite significant push on the water, because there's a bunch of fire ships from Bad Boy, and there's also some galleys from Rolls-Royce. And
looks like the gold is like just far enough inland.
Yeah, but as Rolls-Royce is going up to castle, he's gonna have Botkin, and then those villagers might all die.
Very, very sad indeed. But most villagers, for most players, should be on the outside. All of them, if not most of them, pretty soon. So that should be okay. But definitely, overall, the Vietnamese team looking like the much stronger team right now.
Yeah, I feel like basically they couldn't just capitalize on the water control. So yeah, so much for that, basically. They got the water control, they actually had the better fishing eco, but they were rather slow getting up to castle. And if you remember, I feel like Gu didn't really contribute a lot into the water fight, because he's Kumans and he's using 2 TC, so naturally his castle age is going to be a lot slower.
Well, and he just lost the water battle to ACCM, so you're going up against a very, very strong player in ACCM. You're playing Cumans against a Civ that has an Dark Age eco bonus with the Britons, and it's going to be a little bit rough, I feel, for most of the players. And yeah, not really doing so hot there. Not looking great.
Yeah, meanwhile, Gu was trying to escort his villagers to the outside, but knights are camping down the shoreline, so it almost turned into an absolute disaster. And the walls are finished on the left for Rolls-Royce, and that means that no more knights from Alive can actually get into the eco of Vietnam.
Not without some transport shenanigans, but without decisive control of water, it doesn't really seem like that is too possible. Samanam still has these knights running around. A nice little quick wall there from Alive. Don't know if it will matter too much. And never mind. There's a hole anyway. Whoa! Whoa! Samanam, there's so many free villagers you can go for! Another TC. Just go for the classic, what, 4 TCs right now?
Yeah, the classic boom into GG type of a build.
Oh, I love that build.
Anyways, we got a castle up for kill over here, and he's dropping additional TC, so he's not gonna go for a fairly fast imp here.
He's definitely playing the much more passive approach, but I do want to point out that behind this, Say My Name's macro is insane. It always has been. It's always been, I think, his biggest strength as a player. And he is currently on 81 villagers, with Chimera, of course, going to be having a very strong Castle Age, or Castle Age boom, and Knights and an Imperial Age, and get the units to kill the other units and stuff.
Yeah, but in the meanwhile, Rolls-Royce is down to 36, so that kind of evens things out.
Also, Kill is going for Cataphracts, so I'm pretty sure SC have already won this game. Because Cataphracts, you know, like, what are you gonna do against the might of the Cataphract?
Indeed, and ACCM is going to abandon his central island. Oh no. Thor's island is looking very nasty right now. Run for the lifeboat, but only 5 people can actually fit in.
Oh man, it's literally the Titanic right now.
No, Titanic is when you actually sink that ship.
Well, no, the transport ship is the lifeboat, and the island itself is the Titanic. But he's going for a castle.
Thor is like, hold my Titanic, I'm gonna make a castle here.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's something. Is sending villagers over to the land, already has a TC over there, and it's not looking great for Soul Crazy, but they are at least kind of hanging on.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, we have some massive raids from Say My Name into the eco of Gu.
His villagers are being turned into goo.
Yeah, basically, and with Kumans being at 37 Voyagers is definitely not something that you want to see.
13 kills to 46 deaths is definitely not great.
Yeah, he's having a hard time. And overall, Vietnam seems to have pretty good boom overall, but yeah, the biggest concern is that both Thor and Gu are pretty low in terms of Voyagers. I mean, Kill is fine, and Alive is pretty much fine as well. Kill has 37 Voyagers on food, by the way, so he could click Imp relatively soon.
Well, he only has one villager on gold. Probably needs a few more.
Yeah, probably, that's true. But we get a castle drop on the left side, and Alive might be the player who will try to carry this one. Petards coming in alongside a few Shoal Warriors. One Petard is already chilling there, as the Barrel Boys will try to bash their way through the walls. Contingency walls coming in here for Rolls-Royce as a second layer of defense. And he's already making the third one.
If the petards are holding barrels and they're trying to break into the base of Orange, does that make them doing a barrel Rolls-Royce into the enemy base? No? Okay.
Definitely is not.
Okay, whatever you say. Knight's also getting a ton of work done here for Say My Name. He's just been absolutely everywhere with these guys all game. Huge eco, huge army, 42 kills to 11 deaths.
Yeah, like, Say My Name is playing outstanding, and I feel like the only ingredient missing for SC was basically just some walls to prevent Say My Name from running into the eco directly.
And I think they needed someone to go for a strong boom on the land. I think you need at least to send one person onto the land, just so they can go for like a huge boom into cavalry. Honestly, you might even just have Gu do that. Just go 2 TCs, full palisade walls, abuse the extra HP palisade walls from humans. That might have been a better strategy.
Yeah, indeed. But we have Imperial coming in here for Alive. And apparently we are gonna have Shoal Warriors today.
Oh, we've already had Showed Hell Warriors earlier.
Yeah, but in this series, I mean.
Yeah, already the second castle on the walls coming in. But now, Bad Boy gonna be switching over into the heavy cavalry, and they will just kill the Showed Hell Warriors. They have enough HP and armor to get through that.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And we have a massive horde of soon-to-be Cavaliers on the right side from Say My Name, and I think that's the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it's looking pretty over. The score discrepancy is just, I think, a little too massive at this point. Yeah, Rolls-Royce is just everywhere on water, too. There really isn't a whole lot going for SC right now. And the Trebs. I mean, the Treb for Alive, it's doing something, but they're going to be Cavaliers soon here for Bad Boy, too.
Yeah, it pretty much feels bad because, I mean, SC's game plan isn't bad. In fact, I think they're actually playing what they're supposed to do. It's just about the fact that they're individually weaker.
Yeah.
So they pretty much get defeated in every encounter against the opponent.
Yeah, I mean, you can have good strategies, you can use your civilizations effectively, and have pretty good coordination, because these guys do have that. It's just they're not as good as the Vietnamese players, especially ACCM and Say My Name.
Yeah, but I gotta say that Bad Boy is doing a pretty nice job in this series so far as well. Game number 1 was amazing, game number 2 is pretty good. Rolls-Royce isn't doing the most amazing thing I've ever seen, but we have seen worse.
He's just doing fine. He's doing well enough. Bunch of camels coming in, obviously going to be like the one thing you need the most to deal with the soon-to-be Cavalier. At least I think they're soon-to-be Cavalier. Nope, no. Okay, no, Cavalier just came in. You know, you don't see Cavalier on the field, so you look at the production tab, you don't see Cavalier being researched, and then it's just happened while you were making that transition.
Yeah, indeed. And in the meanwhile, despite the fact that Byzantines get a cheaper Imperial, Kill is actually one of the last players to reach Imp.
Yeah, that's never too great. And that's just GG right there. And without Riot, With Riot, I think the series becomes interesting. I still think Vietnam is favored, but I think it's at least interesting if Riot is here. The overall skill discrepancy is just too high without Riot.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe even with Riot, it's a bit unbalanced in the favor of Vietnam, but well, we have seen such. Basically, in every tournament, especially team game tournaments, there's going to be some pretty one-sided matchups because you don't have, let's say, 30, 40 similar skill level players in the top AoE.
No, you don't. And this is the Seed 2 versus the Seed 7, to be fair. Whereas, like, the last series was Seed 4 versus Seed 5, so that series was understandably a lot closer. But still, I want to see what these guys have for planned for game number 3, because at least they have the right idea going. So maybe if they get some good civs, or they play on the best map in the game.
Are they playing Forest Nothing or what?
They're playing Compass, man.
I know.
I'm at 3 seconds whenever you are ready.
I'm ready. Just say the word. Or say my name.
I was about to go there, but you took the fall on that one. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, go. It all comes down to Compass. Just to introduce this map quickly, real quick. Yeah, because this is a very weird one. You all start in tiny little islands in the middle of the map, and then you have 4 more or less equal areas in each corner of the map. Each one has a different seasonal theme, and there aren't even any shallows, so they are complete islands. You need to fight on water, you need to fight on land, and there are just so many different ways this map can play out. I think we're bound for at least something interesting here.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty nice, and I feel like this is one of those maps where it could be a tiny bit easier for SC, because there might be not as much of a super aggressive gameplay at the beginning, and it's much easier to isolate yourself from the rest of the enemies. Like game number 1, they more or less had at least one player that was surrounded by opponents. Game number 2, they had an opening and knights came in, so they were under constant pressure. In this one, you select where you go, so you can actually coordinate your team to kind of stack up on one island and help each other, or like split in between 2. But in general, I feel like there is more booming potential on this map, and chances are that the early aggression is less important on land, which could benefit SC.
Yeah, unless you're doing something really wild, which is like sending your starting villagers like across the middle area, and then like build a TC on your opponent's island. Like then that can be pretty crazy. But I think everybody is going to be safe and happy with their own islands. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have a full boom fest.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that both teams have the same approach. Instead of, let's say, stacking up 3 players or even 4 players on one side, just to make sure they're super safe, instead, they split 2 in between 2 peninsulas, because they're technically not islands, more like peninsulas.
Yeah, kind of. Mainland, I don't know.
So, yep. As we take a look at the map, I have a feeling that in terms of resource distribution in between the different parts and different seasons, there isn't really major differences.
There isn't, no.
Huntables, Goldstone, so basically it doesn't really matter which side you go for as long as you are with your teammates and frienderinos.
Yeah, no, there shouldn't be any big difference in terms of resource distribution. It's just aesthetically different with the whole 4 seasons and the compass directions and whatnot. It looks cool and definitely gives the map a lot of flavor, but it is still fairly balanced overall. I've seen it where you have like 2 players on a safe island and then you send one to like contest an island with an enemy on each other side, but this is going to be the full safe quote-unquote approach. But it does mean that water aggression is going to be even more important.
Yeah, and from that aspect, you have 4 Team Vietnam Koreans for Say My Name, Tatars for ACCM doesn't really matter on water. Saracens could be fun in the long run for the galleys, for Bad Boy. And Incas for Rolls-Royce. I would have loved seeing Rolls-Royce actually going for like a aggressive approach and potentially trying to start on the opponent's island and then go for like a pretty aggressive Inca opening and try to delay 2 players at the same time to give an advantage to his teammates. On the other side, it feels like Gu could actually go FC with Vikings.
Yeah, totally. And go for longboats. We've seen that before.
Yeah, that would be pretty neat. And then you have Goss, which is like, sure, type of a thing for kill.
It's like a, sure thing.
It could be fun from one aspect. This is one of those maps, especially with the distribution of the TCs looking like this, where you have a high chance of sneaking a villager to the back of the opponent's base. Like, the surface area of these islands are so big, and there is like so much unseen area at the back, that I can imagine Kill doing something like, oh yeah, let's FC, try to smuggle villagers through the opponent's, or like through the river to the opponent's island, drop 2 barracks, send in 10 Huskars, and potentially win the game that way. Because, as you said, this is going to be a very war-heavy approach, so chances are that the opponents aren't really going to have any defense against that on land, maybe not even go for Loom.
Well, it's interesting. We did see SC play this map in their qualifier game against White Eagle, and someone rolled Goths on that one. I think it was someone on White Eagle, and they tried to like sneak a bunch of barracks in Imperial Age and just go for a ton of spam. It kind of sort of worked out. It's really hard to make landings happen if you don't have any control of water, which I think especially in this situation, it's going to be more important. But even then, that game was a whole different story because you had enemies on the same little island area, whereas this, it's much, much safer. So I think it's going to favor the water civs, and 2, the more late game oriented civs, which I actually think is fairly even between the 2 teams in terms of strength.
Yeah, that's true. I still feel like, considering that you start with your own transport ship anyways, you might actually go for the immediate sneak on your villager. I wouldn't have been sad if I saw, let's say, Kill. Minute number 2, you smuggle a villager through. And
you could. You definitely could, but that villager is just being idle for a really long time.
Yeah, it's a big gamble, but on the other side, you idle a villager for, let's say, 10 minutes game time. You can make houses with it if you want, so you kind of minimalize the idle time that you would have. And after that, it can actually be a game-winning move that you actually have a sneaky base behind the opponent. I feel like it's somewhat similar to what we have seen on Grand Barra.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Like with Licks.
Battle of Africa. Yeah.
The YOLO
Basically,
play.
Where you start on the outside. And it's the same thing. You try to smuggle a villager very early. You know that it is going to be idle for quite time, but the potential benefit is so great from being able to harass the opponent from the back where they are unable to defend that you might actually take that risk and go for that villager sneak. As expected, Kill hasn't clicked up just yet, meaning that he seems to go for what appears to be an FC, and a similar thing for Gu.
Thor... Oh, okay, Thor was sending villagers to stone for a second. I was getting really confused with Slavs, but no, it looks like he will just be going over to the gold. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. And it seems like some galley play, looks like from Bad Boy, our Saracen player. Makes sense. You want to go for lots of galleys early on, use that faster fire rate, but also just going to be some fire ships for other players.
I actually like the galley play here quite a bit because you have a good meat shield in terms of like players. Most of your teammates will actually be doing fire galleys. So you have the time to mass your galleys, and especially with Saracens, I wouldn't be surprised to see a super early market selling the stone and trying to get a pretty decent castlage time. You would have like 7, 8, 9 war galleys pretty soon, which could be a pretty nice counter to the FC from the Viking player.
I think the other approach is that you just go heavily commit to Feudal Age, because Galley plus Fire Galley is just better than Fire Galley plus Fire Galley because it's, a more diverse army composition and all that. And I feel like if you can snowball and kill all of your opponent's Fire Galleys, then it's going to be, I think, a little too tricky for the longboats to be doing enough. But we'll have to see what approach they're going to go for right here. And is he, Gray even going for FC? Yes, he is.
Yeah, and meanwhile, speaking of sneaky villagers, it is Rolls-Royce who is sneaking 2 villagers to the right side with Incas. Actually was going for FC, I assume, judging by the resources that he's having in the bank. Hello, why is he not clicking up?
There's literally nothing stopping him from clicking up.
Yeah, it's just
there we go.
Time on the PC for like 20-30 seconds. And I think it's going to be a crossbow play because he's building a barracks back at home, meaning that he's actually trying to play for crossbows and not eagles in this one. I really like this strategy from him. Like with Incas, you aren't really a big factor on the water, but you can do a lot of damage landing. And I feel like this is the part of the game that wasn't really utilized by SC in this specific map.
No, it was not. And here comes the archery range. But Town Watch was researched by Thor. The power of Town Watch! And Rolls-Royce, no idea. I think he did research Town Watch, but oh man, little unfortunate for him. The SC guys are totally going to see this coming.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? Especially with Thor losing all of his fishing ships already. I massively disapprove SC's strategy choice here because I feel like they're just trying to play conventional, but playing conventional against a team that just has way more skilled players is just weird, and I'm not sure if it would work nicely. I still believe that the Gothic sneak should have been attempted, or basically any kind of sneak. But you need like high risk, high reward type of fun approaches if you are this massively outskilled.
Unfortunately, we see that a lot with players in tournaments, that even if they know they're very unlikely to win doing something standard, they would just rather do that than make the game completely messy. Which, I mean, I guess I understand, but it's still kind of tricky. Looks like Defensive Watchtower is now incoming here for blue, but this is still already doing a lot of work and is, meanwhile, giving our Cyan player, say my name, tons of space to get up to Castle Age totally fine.
Yeah, but here come the longboats, and that's not something that Vietnam has an answer to right now, but as I said, it is a bad boy who sold his stone, clicked up to Castle Age, he's remining it right now, but I really love this Saracen approach. I feel like Saracens are probably one of the most underrated war civs. Not necessarily because of the galley bonus, it's more like about the market bonus.
It can be very good. I think they're definitely a pretty good water civ. I don't really think they're top 5 or anything like that, but definitely hovering at top 10 or so.
Well, you would have Italians, you would have Vikings,
Japanese, Portuguese. I'd put Koreans up there too.
Would you actually put Japanese in front of Saracens, though?
Yes.
I'm not that convinced on that, to be honest.
Japanese have such a strong start, such a strong eco that I'd probably put them only behind Italians, and even then by a little bit.
Yeah, that's a weird thing, because I wouldn't actually rank Japanese in front of Saracens, just for the sake of the Saracens being able to have a very, very clean Castle Age transition that can actually win battles so easily.
I guess it's just different ways of looking at the game, just because I think that I probably have a much more old-school mindset when it comes to water, where it's just like, okay, is the Civ good in Dark Age and Early Feudal Age? Then you're good to go for me. But also,
anyways,
yeah, those longboats are getting, they're taking the long way to Valhalla.
Yeah, basically. And this is why I said that the sneak can be so good. Look at what we are seeing from Rolls-Royce. He isn't even doing anything, just making a few crossbows. But meanwhile, he forced yellow to make a stable, he forced blue to make a siege workshop. He's delaying 2 players just by having 2 villagers on the other side. That's exactly what they need.
Can I just give
what SC needed, I believe.
Can I just give some credit to Say My Name real quick for a beautiful split on his fire galleys? Just like making a complete arc around the longboats, meaning they had no chance to escape whatsoever. Like, that was a really, really pretty little maneuver right there. Also, this is super over, by the way.
Yeah, this feels so over. At this point, the ecos are pretty balanced, actually, but as you said, basically, Kill and Thor will be busy trying not to die to the landing of Rolls-Royce, and meanwhile, Bad Boy could just boom all day, all night. Same thing, basically, for ACCM. Isn't ACCM doing anything else than booming? Because he just has like a few fire galleys and that is it.
He's adding a TC. I think he's just... ACCM's just been playing very standard. He went for, you know, a decent amount of water aggression, but not like a ton of committal, and then is just now, I think, getting an eco up behind it. Actually, no, he's landing with the Siege Workshop. He already has a stable. He's making some Sept Lancers.
Ah, I like that quite a bit. Like, I don't think that he actually expected his opponent to have the entire coastline fully walled, as we do have...
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Normandy 1944 colorized over here.
Feels bad, man.
I really approve that Alive was actually doing stone walls behind instead of trying to repair the wall, because Step Lancers can stab through the polished wall, so it's not easy to actually wall behind or repair. And chances are ACM is just going to run in and start slaying villagers. Kill is still busy trying to clean this landing up.
He's gonna be busy cleaning it up for a very long time. To be fair, he is a higher scorer than Rolls-Royce, but you're spending so much time doing that you're not really ever able to contribute a whole lot on water, and just the fishing ship difference is absolutely massive at this point.
Yeah, and Vietnam is dominating this so far.
And I have to say, like you, I'm really impressed by Bad Boy. I think that he is contributing pretty much just as much as Say My Name and ACCM, and that bodes very well for Vietnam, oh my Goss, as they would go up against Pet Gun Pet in the winners match.
It's going to be pretty good indeed, because Pet Gun Pet is a tougher team than SC, and it actually is very good for them if you just take an overall look at how the tournament looks like. So there is going to be a tough team: Nikov, Miguel, Lan, Fëanor, and Sito in the hand cannons OP team. Then you have Arwar, which is still a very strong team. You have Leary, Hart, Stuckdown, Hera together. So there is like a bunch of very strong teams. And the fact that you have a pretty balanced team overall is very good. And I really like how they are using Rolls-Royce in that game. They probably realize as well that Rolls-Royce is a bit under the skill of the other players. But I think Rolls-Royce is one of the players who contributed the most. You take your potentially weakest player and cause chaos to two other players on the opponent, and that's exactly what you need to make it a 3v2 for the other players on your team.
Yep, that's definitely... You're getting the most out of all your players, which is really important. You know, make best with what you have. Also, now we have Viking Knights that are going to be entering the picture from G. Oh boy. You know things are looking grim.
Yeah, you know things are looking grim when a Viking player has to make 3 stables on his own island and try to pop out some knights.
Yeah, big yikes on that one.
And finally, Thor was able to clean up the forward from Rolls-Royce, but this delayed it so much. And I really love how Vietnam is spreading out the war galleys alongside the shore for Thor and Kill. They just want to make sure they don't land on their side, and that's exactly what I was thinking, because I feel like the only way that SC could somehow turn this around is if they're somehow able to land on Rolls-Royce's island and get some Huskars out, because that would suddenly even out the villager count and overall the game.
Or just sneaking up any docks at all. I mean, the landing is definitely a scary potential play. Also, just like, you sneak a few docks, you garrison it with, like, 8 or 9 war galleys in each, and then you jump out and say, "Surprise, Navy!" That could also be a potential play, but it's a little too far gone for that at this point.
Yeah, at this point, this is just a slow and painful death. And it's always interesting to see these type of games from the aspect of, I think that SC is still hoping. And everybody has such games when, hey, I'm a bit behind, but I can still turn this one around, and that's what you're feeling. But at some point, you're going to realize, oh no, I'm not turning this around.
Oh, that's like all my games. I always have hope, man. I just hope that I just, can just keep hanging on, just keep adding more TCs, more villagers, and then eventually, like, I don't know, my opponent will get bored and slip up. I've won too many games like that.
Yeah, what would be good, I believe, for SC is to drop a castle on the shoreline, because right now it's only war galleys, they can't stop the castle, and that would allow you to redock and give you like a small hope, exactly how you would actually do it on islands. Basically on islands, if you lose your docks, your only hope kind of is to just drop a castle that will protect your docks until you can actually mass a fleet, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, in any sort of water map scenario, what you need to do if you are behind on water, because if your opponent is smart, they will just do what the Vietnamese guys are doing and surround your whole island. But then, yeah, not too lucky. Now you're stonewalling in your own island, and this just doesn't feel like a winning strategery.
Yeah, on the positive side of things, you have a bunch of resources, but indeed, it's definitely not super great when you kind of have to stonewall your entire island. But there it is, from Goo. As we have Say My Name landing with a single villager, trying to sneak up on the opponents, but Goo is going to spot that one. And I feel like that castle is too close to the shore, though. That's way too close.
Yeah, but can you really even put the castle in range of defending your docks? Because, like, the thing is, you put the castle up, and if it's too far inland, then the war galleys can poke away at the docks, no problem, and I feel like it's really hard to actually place a castle in that scenario, other than just hoping you can get it up sneakily. But Say My Name doing a great job of denying it as best they can with this little quick gate here. And yeah, this is happening as about as quickly as I'm hitting 1700.
Yeah, basically. Honestly, the later you do your castle, the more difficult it is going to be. So, I'm already thinking that this is way too late, because now we have Galleons out. Galleons will have 10 range with Bracer, so it's much harder to drop a good castle than in comparison to, let's say, dropping it at the beginning of Castle Age when you know you already lost water, but hey, my opponent still has more or less just fire galleys and not war galleys or galleons.
Yeah, he got conscription on the way for kill. I'm not too sure what he wants to be doing with it. They are getting trade established.
Ooh, that's a lot of docks up for kill. But what is he making? He's not making any ships right now, as we do have a castle, by the way, from Rolls-Royce on the southern part of the map. Defensive castle from Tor for some trap wars. And one of the things that might be worth pointing out is that killing your opponent on this map is relatively hard, because there's like so much space to fall back to.
Oh, it's really hard. You have to land, and then you have to actually like push your opponent all the way back into their island. I mean, games can last a long time. I mean, the first game I cast on this map was like a little under 2 hours long game time. This will not be that long because it's just so one-sided and over. But you guys can definitely see the potential watching, I'm sure.
Yeah, anyways, it would be very fun to see this map with some more even teams, I would say, as Thor is not actually making a trap on that castle on the south, and he's making conscription. That's not what he's supposed to do when he's seeing the opponent's castle. He should go for the trap ASAP.
Yeah,
Like,
unless you're thinking that I need to go insanely greedy if I have any hope, but either way, you're dying.
Yeah, like that should have been a trap so that he can actually start trapping down the castle. And we will have Elite Kamayuk coming in here for Rolls Royce alongside a bunch of petards.
Well, I'm sure you're not going to complain about seeing that.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about Kamayuks at all.
Oh yeah. There is a Treb out, and I mean, to be fair, it's almost equally greedy for Rolls Royce what he's doing, getting Elite Cameo, Conscription, and even Fabric Shields. Okay, he canceled Fabric Shields. He realizes he does need some Trebuchets. But pretty solid upgrades. There is Onager in here for Thor, but I mean, it's still very grim.
Yeah, it's very, very grim. Like, Kill is trying to redock here, but as I said, once Galleons are out, it's just not going to work. Plus, those are Saracen Galleons as well. And last time I checked, Saracen Galleons are way better than Gothic Galleons.
Yeah. By a lot.
Yeah, but look at Goo. This is actually interesting. He's gonna have a bunch of towers, and I'm pretty sure that those actually have heated shot already. And that's a
Vikings have it.
boat.
Yeah. Elite longboats, fully upgraded. And this is what I was talking about. Like, the Surprise Navy is one of the ways you could potentially ever come back in a game.
Yeah, being honest, this might not be completely over. It feels like there is a massive advantage for Vietnam, but killing your opponent is so hard here, and suddenly you have a bunch of longboats. And I feel like the foothold for Rolls-Royce could actually fall because he doesn't have his own trebs right now.
No, he doesn't. The contingency walls from Thor are actually beautiful. Really making sure that there is no way those Kamyuks can squeeze their way in. And now the trebuchets are going to be have to target other trebuchets, and that's not looking so great. I'm kind of wondering what ACCM is doing.
He's making Hussar and transporting them through. I guess he wants to raid like Goose Eco. As we do have a trade coming up here for SC on the left side island. I still feel like the biggest contribution missing is Kill. Like, he either needs to start slinging Goo into more ships, or start making his own ships, but he needs to contribute more because he's the one that doesn't really have any major army.
Also, as we do have a bit of a longboat versus galleon fight incoming, where the longboats actually heavily outnumbered the galleons, even though it doesn't really seem like it. No, actually it's around even, but all the ships need to be fighting. But can we just take a moment to appreciate that? When is the last time you have seen trade cogs in a tournament in Age of Empires?
Honestly, this is one of those maps where trade cogs, if you have full water control, is actually more legitimate than trade cards.
Oh yeah, definitely. We saw it in Tete Cup, really?
Yeah, Tete Cup actually had some similar maps. As we have a landing here from Bad Boy, it doesn't really matter that he's going to lose the majority of this fleet because he's actually able to establish a foothold. We have Kill coming in here with his own trebs, though.
Oh, now ACCM is landing on the right side. Everybody is just piling on this right side here. It's a little bit rough. Looks like maybe some Eagle Warriors. Yeah, some Elite Chicken Suit Men are on the way. They're going to have almost full upgrades. And now we have a bunch of Elite Cannon Galleons. Or, sorry, just regular Cannon Galleons. Koreans should get Elite Cannon Galleons. And they're going to be taking down these castles.
Well, yeah, that's more cannon galleons than what you need to do that. Although, I'm not so sure. I mean, those galleons are dying relatively fast. Some of the castles will fall, but there's a chance that Bad Boy is going to lose his castle.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
but also, can
there
you
is
take...
just no army here for SC to defend against those light cav raids, and the eco for Vietnam is untouched.
Oh yeah, definitely. Also, can we take a moment to appreciate what Say My Name's doing in the center of the map? Like, Korean keeps are just so amazing for just securing water control. Like, what's going to happen is, you know, even if Goo can push out here with the help of Kill, like, you're running into all of these docks that are just surrounding, you know, 13 range keeps with heated shot and arrow slits and all that.
Lake Poyang intensifies.
Oh no. No. Those towers, man, they have like 20 range. speaking of which, I need to play that again because I had to revert my patch and I lost all my campaign progress.
Feels bad, man. I'm still waiting for the Lake Poyang no units lost.
Oh, we're working our way up there. We started with Genghis Khan, which is going to be the easier one. Then we were working our way up with Monk Tazuma, which I released today. Montezuma with only monks and rams and trebs. But Lake Poyang it's going to be like doing Tariq with no units lost.
Anyways, we do have a hole on the south, and that means that Eagles are running in there. Thor is dropping in terms of villager count. Their eco is just getting contested so much by like raiding units, so they're forced to make units on their own island and rebuild their eco, whereas for Vietnam, they just have an untouched eco behind this one.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that I am impressed by how valiantly the SC guys are actually trying here, and they're actually putting up a good fight. They're making all of the right moves. I do think it's too far gone at this point to really have any hope, but I think it actually says a lot for them, even if they, when they go down to the losers bracket to face ROR. I think if they can get Riot back and, then potentially, have this sort of determination, I think they could possibly beat ROR.
Yeah, definitely. I would actually say that they might actually be even favored against ROR, because they are doing the right things. And they're on the level where they are doing what pros do, just worse. I mean, this isn't trying to be impolite or anything. It's very good strategies. They are doing what they're supposed to do. They're just getting outskilled by their opponents.
Yeah, I mean, I still think that they don't really have much of a shot without Riot. But with Riot, I definitely think it could be a very even series. Like, even now, like, they're not giving up. Like, these longboats are really holding their own.
Okay, what if they're playing for their opponent to run out of wood?
No. No.
Technically, you can try.
Oh, you can try. It won't work, but you can try.
Look at all those fancy trade cogs. I actually want to compare, because you can see the bunch of bumping, but a trade cog for Bad Boy brings 113 gold in comparison to kills trade cards that bring in 29.
I mean, it has to be more efficient. And honestly, looking at the pathing, the bumping isn't all that bad.
I mean, there isn't really a huge amount of trade cogs. Oh, look at the middle. The style points for Say My Name.
Oh, it's the Kobukson! Oh, if that doesn't scream, I want late game water population efficiency, I don't know what does. What are you gonna do when the turtles come for you? And honestly, this is a really good chance for turtle ships to shine. I mean, where do you run? You can't, like, just sail around in circles forever against turtle ships. There isn't enough space.
Yeah, indeed. And really, SC is trying to hold on, but they're getting graded more and more, and I really like what ACM is doing. All he's doing is just spamming Hussars into the eco of the opponent. Meanwhile, you have Rolls-Royce, who is likely just slinging someone with 160 Voyagers and no army.
Yeah, almost certainly. Inca's not really like a post-imp powerhouse civ, and we have all of these Hussars from our red player ACCM just running around everywhere. And Bad Boy and Say My Name are both doing an excellent job on water. More and more elite turtle ships coming in. And we're seeing, in one day, we've seen trade cogs, we've seen turtle ships, we've seen Teutonic Knights, we've seen Aztec war galleys winning water. Good stuff.
Yeah, and imagine what else we could see. Be sure to check out the next installment of OBNC.
Oh yeah, definitely. Will be happening Thursday. Same time, same place. Will be shorter, it's only going to be one series, so I think I'm just going to cast that solo, as it's also the Seed 1 versus Seed 8. But I will also be bringing on more and more casters, guys. And maybe we can get Lidacor back, too. give him more than just one series that is one-sided.
Sure. I'm open anytime, you know.
Oh yes, Turtle Madness indeed. But I mean, it's obviously I don't really see a whole lot.
Yeah, especially with Rolls Royce unleashing the glorious, the majestic Kamayuks.
What are you gonna do when the Omega Pokes come for you? It works. It works with many units. Alive is running around some Elite Gebettos. I'm not too sure if that's going to be quite enough. Yeah, I just love seeing turtle ships, man. I mean, I know I study Korea and everything, but they're just awesome. This is the best SC has looked, though, by far. I do want to give him credit for that.
I suspected something like this because basically it shapes out as I kind of expected. It's a slower map, they have more space to fall back to, and they look decent until they got landed, basically. And this is why Rolls-Royce was so important in this series. And in this game specifically. Because he just knocked Thor and Kill out of his rhythm so hard that it allowed the rest of the players to just stack up on the water, win it, and then just have the better trade and snowball that from that point on. So I feel like the stalemate was essentially broken by Rolls-Royce here.
Yeah, definitely. We now have Rolls-Royce landing here on the other side. Say my name with keeps on the opponent's island. Like, Korean's just such a strong civ on this map for a lot of reasons, but just cementing any sort of landing with keeps really good, and that is going to be it. 3-0 for Oh My Goss. Not unexpected, considering it's Seed 2 versus Seed 7, but at least that last game I think was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this one was extremely good. And the great thing about this is that you see the potential in this specific map. That it can shape out in a large amount of ways. And I feel like this map is one of those where you have the biggest comeback potential.
Yeah, definitely.
So, because it's so hard to finish off any player, this map has a lot of